Well, good afternoon, and welcome to this week's edition of Drive Facebook Live. I'm your host, Bob Spitz, with my partner, Tony Whistler. And our very special guest today, and a dear friend of mine, is Deanna Ure of Cole Service Center in the teeming metropolis of Van Cleve, Mississippi.
Absolutely.
Deanna, how are you?
Wonderful. It was 30 degrees last night. Now it's like 60 degrees outside. So I got a sweater on.
I didn't think they allowed it to get down to 30 in Mississippi.
Ooh. And we had snow in January, Bob. We had 7 inches of snow. The whole world.
Holy, in South Mississippi.
In Van Cleve, Mississippi at my house. I got pictures. It
Oh
was,
my God.
oh yeah. I've
Well,
never seen that.
well,
Yeah.
it snowed in Miami, I think. I think
Yeah, it's been a weird winter. Hey,
it's been a
Deanna,
strange winter.
for the two people who don't know you, why don't you introduce yourself, where your shop's located, how long you've been in business, all that jazz.
Absolutely. Well, my name is Deanna Cole-Ure. And I have a shop in Van Cleve, Mississippi, the center of my universe, down on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. My father and his two brothers, well, my father purchased it in 1973, and his two brothers worked with him for several years. And then the two brothers moved on and did some other things. And of course, myself and my two brothers were of age to go to work. I was 13 and they were 8. So, so we were hired in at the tender age. And so we just celebrated 52 years in February. We're general repair. We have 4 bays. I've got 3 techs and service advisor. So and Van Cleve is just a wonderful, wonderful area to be in. Jackson County, Mississippi, right between New Orleans and Mobile down on the coast. But yeah, so I've found Drive in 2000. I've been with them 25 years now, my God. And gone through a lot of the programs. I'm even in a position now I get to teach some of the classes, and I absolutely love it. So thank you
Well,
so
you're
much for
very
having
good at it.
me today. Thank you,
And
sir.
Yeah.
and just so you know, Deanna, Mark Granum says hello.
Hey, Mark, I met your daughter Madison today.
Yeah, we met
Yeah,
Madison today.
yeah, she was great. I'm glad you got her in there.
Yeah. Now, over the 25 years I've known you, that business has gone through quite a few changes. I mean, when I first met you, you still had the hamburger joint
Yes, I
and the
was.
junkyard.
Yes, and the
That's a
baby.
real transition from having a hamburger joint in a junkyard to owning an automobile repair shop.
Oh, no, no, no. The shop was there too. It was Cole's Corner.
Oh, Cole's Corner, baby. We had the whole, yeah, we had the
Yeah,
whole. Yeah, I was the Burger Queen. Um, but yeah. So my brother Wendell moved away in '96. So again, the brothers. And so I ended up helping over at the shop. I didn't know a Dodge from a Chevy at that time, and I didn't know what's a V6 and a 8-cylinder. Nothing. So anyway, I ended up helping answer the phone, and that's how I got involved in the automotive repair shop. And that would have been in '97. And of course, found Drive in 2000, thank goodness, because we'd have totally been out of business if we hadn't. But yeah, lots of transitions. And of course, and then we went through Hurricane George in '98, which is why we ended up redoing. Because when I met you, one of the first things you said in the seminar, Bob, was, "And we don't need Taj Garage. Don't go out and just build a new shop." And I looked over at Wes and I was like, "Too late," because we had gotten an SBA loan because we've been flooded 7.5 feet of water. So I said, "I am too old to do this every 5 years." So we rebuilt the shop. Of course, I didn't go Taj Garage, but rebuilt the shop at that time. So that was a move, and we moved in the weekend we moved in. That Monday we flew to California to go to class. So I mean, it was this continuous chaos of forward movement.
yeah.
But anyway, but yeah, so it's been a lot of different
So
things.
so Kevin Reichel wants a hamburger. So is there a chance you can fry him one up?
Hey, Kev, look, as soon as you get down South Mississippi, I will make you a Cole's Drive-In burger.
Nice.
Change your, because I'm the last one that can make it. Any of my friends from Vancleave show up, they know what I'm talking about with Cole's Drive-In Burger.
So you're you gotta pass that on to the next generation, and you can't
Yeah.
not let the recipe die, can you?
Nah, well, maybe. I don't have any nieces and nephews yet. I'm waiting for
There
some
you
of these
go.
to kick around. So
Yeah, Kevin is such a
yeah, Kevin.
foodie.
And Kevin,
Kevin
I'm
is
a
such a
good
foodie.
chili dog too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, Dee, the whole theme of this month is Leadership Month, and we've got different activities going on regarding leadership. Tony and I did a Facebook Live on it.
hmm
And Tony, there's a webinar coming up on it, right?
Yes, there is. We're going to have on the 26th, which is Wednesday. It's coming up next week. Leadership That Works webinar with Erkan Oz, we like to call him because he has a very nice, fancy Turkish last name that I can never pronounce. So we're just going to call him Erkan Oz and John Dowda. They're going to be on that Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific. Anyone can go to that. So there will be a link in the chat for this show to actually go sign up for it. So if you want to go to that webinar, definitely look for the link and then go sign up, and we'd love to have you. I think we got a pretty healthy crowd of people already signed up. The roster's getting pretty big, so it'll be a lot of fun. There'll be a lot of people there. Yeah, I think she just dropped it in the chat just now. So go look for it. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And the reason I'm bringing that up, Dee, is when your dad died, you and Wes got kind of dumped into the deep end of running that business.
Yes.
And someone had to grab the steering wheel, and that someone ended up being you.
Yes. Yes. Um, yeah, we like I said, I started helping the guys over at the shop. And of course, you got to remember this was 97, 98, and what have you. And they were doing patches on tires for $2.95. And I would watch them do it, and I'm thinking, this is not tracking. So, so there's just several things like that. No, but we've always done it this way, and I'm like, So when I found when I located the drive information, and of course I told the boys, we're going to California, and they're, what is it, country come to town. So we loaded up and flew to California. And so when we got to the seminar, one of the first things you do is you go around the table and everybody introduces themselves and where they're from and their labor rate. And so, and we had the shop, and of course everything was paid for. I mean, we didn't owe anything. We just show up and hang around during the day and, pump some gas and do some spark plugs and get paid and go on. So, because we were not business owners. We owned the business, but nobody had ever trained us. We didn't know what to do. This is what we always do. So anyway, so they were going around the room doing the labor rates. And Wes stood up and he says, "My name is Wes Coles, and my brother Chris and my sister Deanna. We're from Vancleave, Mississippi. And I think the first thing we're gonna have to do when we go back is raise our labor rate because we're at $35 an hour." And I'm sitting there because I'd already been through the seminar and I'm going, you. So anyway, so I loaded those poor little fellas up, took them out to California. And it just never stopped after that. So
Or I thought he was going to stand up and say his labor rate was 100, and then he says, "I just raised it right as I was standing because I heard." I just
that was it, buddy. It was, and I think at that time most of the labor rates were around 65.
65, 75.
Perspective. But I think we heard somebody say 100, and we were like, "Hey, how can he do that? That's not." So,
yeah.
Well, and you and I were talking, Dee, there's a number of attributes that you could assign to great leaders of history. And one of them, of course, is vision.
yes.
Having a vision and then being able to communicate that vision in such a way as to inspire, motivate, and get the buy-in of your team to move in a certain direction. And you had that challenge of taking a culture that was really so 1970s and trying to move it into the 21st century.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. And again, I mean, my brothers are very bright. They're very good people. Wes was a fabulous technician. So it wasn't about that. It was more about, we talked about this because I recently retired my brother. He's still involved. He's not gone by any stretch, but he's no longer on his tools, no longer in the shop on the floor. And we talked about this and we talked about it for a year. It took me that long to let him process what this was going to be. And so finally I came to work and I said, your last day's Friday, bud. And, so and we really had some really good conversations that last week. And he said, one of the things is, he says, I realized that the culture, the reason he was so unhappy at work or not productive or, whatever is, he says, I realized I'm still in a culture that I was raised in that no longer exists. He said, and I just don't know what to do about that because there's just certain things as I came up through the years, because he turned riches since he was 15. So he had 45 years in there. And just that culture is not there anymore. He said, and a second thing that he realized is his purpose. He said, I thought about it. He says, and my purpose was always to help people. I mean, that's the kind of person he is. He's a fabulous person. And his purpose had always been to help people, which is why we don't let him work in the front with money. So, he said, my purpose was to help people. It was never to make money. And that's being brutally honest with yourself about what's going on. So anyway, I'm thrilled for him.
Did he get a gold watch?
Not yet.
I'm just putting the
I'm
bug in
working
your
on
ear.
my third gold watch.
Just putting a bug there, so when I see him again at the expo, you can give me a heads up and go, "Thanks, Tony, for putting it." I got a nice gold watch.
I'll have to do that. I'll have to might get him a gold wrench. But anyway.
Gold wrench. I love it.
Well, a tip of the hat to him on that because honestly, Dee, I tried to drag that out of him for years because I knew he never had his own personal purpose and goal for Coles.
Mm-mm.
It
Yeah.
was your daddy's business,
Yep.
and he just got thrust into it.
Yep. And that's where he stayed, and that's what we always do. So, and again, I could just be on the outside looking, I could see, and I knew I wanted more for him. He'd be happy to, do that till the day he dies. And I just said, I'm not interested in watching you,
Get carried out feet
on the
first.
shop floor.
Right.
So, but you do have to, like you said, the vision to lead people to get them to do, what needs to be done for the business. And that was one of the things with Wes, he and I talked about it, and again, this was a 1-year process. This was not a, hey, bud, it's over with. And, I think when the time came, he was at peace with it. I was at peace with it. Everything just tracked the way it was supposed to do. But yeah, leadership. And another thing, my big thing for me in leadership is making decisions. And that's, when you can make decisions, and I don't want to say quickly, that's not exactly what I mean, but when you can make decisions based on the information presented and then go with them, that's huge in business, especially in today's time, because we don't have that snail's pace anymore. Everything's so fast, and you really have to be able to make decisions and make things happen today.
Would you say that it's not necessarily quickly, but with certainty?
Yes.
Like you can make a decision with certainty.
Yes.
Yeah. Because a decision is better than no decision. Even the wrong decision is better than not deciding at all.
Well, because it's about movement. And again, in this,
about action.
It's about action and making things happen, and just, getting knowledge. And, every action you make has a reaction, and that's how we learn. As we move things along and make things happen, we understand we can improve and make things better. So.
Oh, by the way, Chuck from Bomb Boulevard is watching.
Yep.
Hey, Chuck.
Yeah. Someone from your generation of drive clients.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And also, just so you guys know, we've also put in the chat a link to Deanna's speech that she gave at the expo when she became sustained a master elite of shop management.
Yeah,
So
we didn't even talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we can talk about
Deanna's
that
got the
now.
distinct
Talk
the
about
distinction
decisions.
of yeah.
Talk
Talk about
about decisions,
that's
Bob.
right. It took you a
Look,
while to make that decision, but when
look,
you did,
look, because I didn't know what it was about. And that's, I tell everybody, all my speeches that I do, I say, look, I didn't understand what this master program was all about. And so one of the ladies at Drive put a catalog together, and I got my hands on it. I started flipping through there, looking at the prerequisites to be a master. And I was like, I'm already a master. What the hell?
That's exactly
So
that's exactly
I
right.
called my consultant. I said, "Hey, what's this master program thing?" Blah, blah, blah. So they put me through it, and so we started doing and our graph, our gross sales graph, all of them, but the gross sales graph from the minute we decided to join the master program and to do it, it just there it went, just up in there. As a matter of fact, Kevin, my little buddy Kevin, that's on the program, he got his master's right after me, and of course I went for my master elite the next year. And so he called me after he got his, and he says, "Should I do this master elite?" And I said, "Oh yeah." Oh yeah, Kevin. And he'll tell you, the master program will change your life. The master elite is even better.
Very
And
yeah,
then
because
of
you
course
got to
I
really
I
fine tune everything to achieve Master Elite.
absolutely, because you've already done the hard work. Getting the master was the hard work, and when you do the master elite, it's just more. It's just more. Everything gets better, and your leadership, because you're leading everybody on a successful path, and it's obvious to the staff, it's obvious to the customers, it's obvious to everyone that you're on a successful path moving forward, and people want to follow that. And that's what the master program gives. And then the third year, I did the sustained master elite, and I was like, dang, we need to do that again. Y'all need another program. Need another program. But
That's
yeah,
right.
it's a
but see
path. Yes.
now you're in a position where you're running an operational shop. Even with Wes's retirement, you have a little bit more free time on your hand. And one of the things we talk about at Drive is what are you going to do with your life now that you're not completely socked into the shop, and you got to find something else. Most clients I want to give back to the industry, and based on that, I just want to mention to everybody who doesn't already know it, which it wouldn't, I'm sure there are not many of you, that Deanna is one of my absolute best instructors. She has been working with us now for, I think, more than a year now. You've been with
Yeah.
us instructing more
Yeah.
than a year.
Yeah.
And we had our first conversation about it at an expo. I think it was the Vegas Expo, when I finally said, let's just do this thing. And she came on board and became part of my team. And just having you on board is such a pleasure, such a great instructor. Do you want to tell anybody about that experience, like what you're doing after we got to operational part of your life?
Well, so the instructing is just it is so rewarding to be in a class with people who are exactly where we were, who are going through exactly what I have been through. And it's just so rewarding to be able to give them the information that Drive gave us and that we work with every day that works. And it's so rewarding to be with young shops and shops that are older, and just give them the information and let them see what is possible. Because, and this is one of the things that Drive actually gave us way back, our industry is a craft. Our industry is vital. Our industry is a service that the country, the community, everyone needs, and it's professional. Okay. And you need to understand that. And you need to understand the value that you bring and the value that this knowledge and time that you spend in your craft gives to the community, to the country, people have to get back and forth to work. They have to take care of their vehicles. They change every 18 months. Somebody's got to be able to offer you some honest advice and honest service that you need. It's not like you can't, well, I'm just not going to change my oil. That's not an option.
That's not an option.
So
Although I've tried when I was young.
oh yeah, and I've seen things, but yeah, that was one of the first things that really spoke to me early on with Drive, is I realized that this is not just a little okey doke thing. The potential for an automotive repair shop in today's society is phenomenal. And
Absolutely.
sales, marketing, training, production. I mean, those are the keys to it. And when you master those, it happens. I mean, it just happens. And I love it. I enjoy service. If I haven't been doing it, I'm away from the desk. I'm not doing it anymore, but I love it and I'm good at it.
Well, I know you're good at it because that's why we had such a hard time replacing you at it.
But I got a
That's
great service
right.
advisor now.
But
Got it.
I want to circle back to something you said, Dee, which was very important, and that is the ability to make a decision with confidence
Mhm.
at the right time, which is one of the attributes of a great leader is courage and
Mhm.
having the courage of that conviction. And too many people get stuck up in a maybe. Well, what if I do this? And what happens if I don't do this? And then nothing happens. Nothing changes. And having that courage to do that is huge. And I think one of the things that helps people have that confidence is training.
Mhm.
So I'd like you to speak just a little bit about, because you've done an awful lot of training with drive and management success, and how did that help you in your decision, your ability to make decisions and get this business moving to where it is today?
It's huge. And the train and the thing about the training with drive is that it is automotive industry specific. This is not theoretical business, rhetoric. This is specific to our industry. You are talking to other people who have owned shops. You're talking to other people who have done this. And it's laid out in such a format that the training, there's big blocks, there's big things, and then you dive down or you drill down into each one and become more proficient and more proficient. And Drive has got this set up in such a wonderful layer that you can get the big rocks, and then you can take each one, you drill down into it, you find how to correct things, you drill down some more. And they have the thing y'all have now, which is the action workshops. Oh my gosh, I wish y'all had those when I would have taken every single one of them. So
We didn't have the technology to do it when you started.
That's right.
I know it. I know it. But training and I find myself in classes telling people, let me explain to you. When you have an issue in your shop, the first thing, the knee-jerk reaction is to fuss at somebody or just get all upset and twist it around the right. And you need to take anything that happens in your shop that is non-optimal, that is an opportunity for growth. That is an opportunity for improvement. That's what that is. You can turn it into a thing, or you can turn it into an opportunity for growth. You get policies, procedures, dial it in, get it handled, get it understood. And it's a wonderful communication with your crew because they see that you're not there to beat everybody up every time something goes sideways. You're there to improve the process for everybody. And that goes with your equipment, that goes with your training, that goes with your repairs, that goes with there's no marketing, financing, sales. There's nothing in there that cannot be improved. And that's what Drive does, is lays it out in layers. And as you achieve understanding of the big stuff, you start drilling down into the next level. You achieve understanding there, you drill down some more, and whichever area is the issue, because some areas of your shop are running great, and that's great. But there's some areas of your shop that could be a little bit better. And so that's the area you drill in on. And Drive has just the library of information is unbelievable. And I'm telling you, you can use this information in your daily life with your family and friends and any other organization you're in, because everything that they're telling you applies. It applies across the board to just the human factor. Because stop and think about this. When you're working on a vehicle, technical with a tech, all right, he's working on a vehicle, but at the end of the day, the vehicle doesn't know it's broken. The person who walked into your shop, that's the job. And
Right.
once you understand how to handle the people and have your staff handle the people so that it's a great experience, everything is, the communication lines are all in, and you get all of these things dialed in, that's where the car doesn't know it's broken. It can sit in the field and briars can grow over 4 years. It's never going to say anything. The
That's right.
person you're dealing with, once you understand how to have that,
You're right.
That's great.
You're right.
Now, one of
And
That's
that's a light bulb moment for a lot of shop owners, is to
yeah,
realize that they're in business to handle people's transportation problems. They've got to be customer centric.
that's right.
yes,
Technicians
absolutely.
have to be tech centric,
Yes, yes,
but
and again, that's two separate areas of your shop, and then they have to work with each other because the technician is a person and your service advisor is a person, and they have to work together. So again, it's back to people, and when you understand the communications that have to happen between each other, and they're asking you questions for a reason, not because they want to irritate you. Well, most of them.
most of
Well, that might
the
be a secondary
time.
Another
desire.
class.
It's not the primary reason.
Yes, I mean, but that's it, communication. And Drive just, what you said, Bob. I mean, Drive just has it's just laid out in such a wonderful way. And if people will avail themselves of that, and that's takes you when you start doing this and drilling in, that takes you directly to the master path. You're on the path. And then you have the fabulous opportunity to get up and tell people your story. And I have heard stories that'll just bring tears to your eyes. Just it's fabulous to hear people say, I was where you are too, and now I'm not. And I invite you to come with me, and I invite you to have a fabulous shop because you can do
Beautiful.
it.
Hey, I
Period.
have one question. I wanted to come back around to something you had said that I thought was pretty important. It's like every shop, there are things in the shop that are doing well, and there are things that aren't doing well.
Mhm.
And with some new people, and I think you may agree with me on this, that they just can't, they're not seeing, it's just overwhelming, or whatever's going on in the shop is a problem.
Mhm.
Um, and so, but some things are working and some things are not working. And that made me think of another service that we provide here at Drive called the shop business analysis, which is
Yes.
which I think is a great way to really step into this whole entire world, because they can do an analysis and figure out where the pain points are, where the things are that aren't functioning right, and where the things are that are doing well. And I think it's a very cool service. And there's a link to that service in the chat as well.
Mhm. And
Yeah, the shop business analysis is extremely valuable for anybody
mhm.
Oh, we lost you, Bob.
Bob.
who's wondering, how well am I doing? Oh,
Exactly. And that's
am I back?
good.
Yeah, you're back. You're back.
Yep.
All right, I got spotty internet all of a sudden.
And and all of this is not to say this is simple, but it's very worthy. It's very valuable and it's very worth it. I mean, nothing that's great is going to be simple and easy to get to. You have to put in the time, you have to put in the attention. But if if you want a successful shop, that shouldn't be an issue. You already work hard.
Right.
You're working as hard and as fast and as long as you can. And working a little longer and a little harder and a little faster is not going to change the situation you're in because you don't know certain things that you need to do and that you need to change. And once you make those subtle changes, it's going to get a little bit easier and a little bit easier. We Daddy, when he opened the shop, oh God, back in 73, he worked 6 to 7 Monday through Friday, and then he had a short day on Saturday, he worked 6 to 6. He'd have worked on Sunday if they would have let him. So, I mean, that was his idea. You work longer and you work harder and you be available to everybody for everything. And we finally, and Saturdays, when we shut down on Saturdays, oh God, we're going to go out of business. Shoot, sales doubled.
Yeah.
They couldn't hang around going, well, I
I know
just,
it's counterintuitive, but that's exactly how it works. Hey, Tony, I think it's time for our station break.
Absolutely. I was going to say one thing before I got into that, though. Weren't you the one that said that you heard that from a client that said they work half days? They only work 12 hours a day. Wasn't
yeah,
that
eight
Yeah,
the
to eight.
8 in the morning till 8 at night. That was the old Mike Lee joke. Half days.
Eight
half
to eight,
days?
baby.
We only work half days around here.
Mhm.
Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about our expo. We've been talking about it all through the whole show, but we have an expo coming up in Vegas, September 18th through the 20th. That's a Thursday, Friday, and a Saturday. If you can make it to the expo, please come. It is a phenomenal time. We have a great party, and there's a lot to learn. We're going to learn a lot of things, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And of course, you get to hang out in Vegas. So
Yeah.
that's also fun too. So that's that. And then again, we talked about it earlier, but I can't say it enough. If you can make it to the webinar that's going to happen on the 26th about leadership with Aircon and John, I think it'll be very beneficial for you. And so I'm going to recommend you do that, 10 a.m. Pacific time. And there's links to sign up for that. And there's links to sign up and look at the SBA in the chat. I want to make sure you guys, if you're not on our program and you're interested in learning more about what it is or learning more about the condition of your business, the
Yeah.
SBA is really the way to find out how your business is actually running. And we'd
And
love
that
to have
brings
you.
us to the top of the hour. Deanna, it goes by so fast.
It
It's so
does.
great to talk to you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so
And
much for the opportunity, Bob and Tony. I appreciate it
not a,
very much.
not a problem. So from all of us at Drive Facebook Live, we wish you a great afternoon and a great weekend, and we'll see you all next time.